Hello, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with the Print on Demand Challenge and with eCom sellers. And this is day 60. So, in day 60 was our last day of the 60-day challenge. We hope that this has been a fun journey for you, or it's been an insightful and interesting journey for you. I'm still hoping that you're going to get your schedule pulled together and that you get organized around that schedule, because I believe that that's going to make the biggest difference in your business, long-term, bigger picture, figuring out how to work this business in your current life and whatever you got going on. In addition to that, I hope that you found some inspiration on this journey and that you don't sit on the information, that you actually take action. You could get stuck in analysis paralysis and never do anything. There's nothing like investing time in classes and then not doing anything with what you learned. So the best thing to do anytime that you learn something new is to immediately implement or execute on it. Once you learn it, do it over and over again until you're ready to do the next new thing. Definitely take bite-sized steps throughout this journey, focusing on one thing at a time, allowing that one thing, whatever it happens to be, for you to get a little bit better at it, but don't become paralyzed to where you don't take enough action to build momentum in your business, or that you take zero action. So put together a game plan for yourself based on all the stuff that we've talked about throughout this journey. And I hope that if this has been a blessing to you, that you'll share this out with others and let other people know about the Print on Demand Challenge. The model and the structure for the Print on Demand Challenge will be different next time. And we will not do it daily. We will definitely do it a couple times a week, but it will be focused on giving you enough information so you can go and execute on your own and make progress in your business. So with that, we are in the review part of this challenge, and we are now into optimizing your listing. So as part of optimizing your listing, the thing that I talked about over and over again throughout this challenge was that the first 5 words matter, that you could use information from other platforms to help you to figure out what to do. So I know that in here I have like use the Amazon product classifier, but the reality is inside of eBay, you do have your own categories to figure out where this is going to go. You might get some insight as you share your listings or post your listings on other platforms by using tools that are on those platforms themselves. So if you're also an Amazon seller, use the classifier to figure out which category makes sense, or go find your competition on that platform to figure out where you're going to put the listing. Same thing with eBay. And again, going back and looking at your competitors on Etsy can be quite insightful to figure that out. On those other platforms, if they have places for you to put additional search terms, use that. We know that on Etsy, you need to populate the tags, and that's one of the things that's extremely important. And don't overlook the opportunity to use long tail keywords. Etsy likes long tail keywords, so use them when you have the opportunity. Okay. Make sure your images are clean and name your image files. I've talked about that a few times. I do want to continue to encourage you not to copy somebody else's listing. That is not what we're here for. We are here to make money off of the things that we create. That doesn't mean that somebody's not going to copy your listing. You can't get caught up in that, because that's just par for the course. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. And so we're going to move forward with our business and not get caught up on people copying our stuff. Make your stuff so unique that it becomes a little bit of a challenge for people to figure it out, and or that you're putting out so much product that it doesn't matter that people have cloned or copied your stuff and made their own version of it, because it's going to happen. It's just par for the course. When you're creating your listing title, don't use any special characters in the title. Pay attention to your competitors. How did they create that title? Use that tip that I gave you where you pull up the last 10, not last 10, sorry. You put in your search in the search box. So type in whatever it is you're going to be looking up. And know the different ways in which people might actually search for this thing. So there might be 2 or 3 different ways in which people might search for it. And then once you pull that up and write down those 3 or 4 different ways that they might search for this, then look at the first 10 listings. Look at the common characteristics of the title for the first 10 listings. Look at the common characteristics of the images for the first 10 listings. Use that so that you can build a better listing for your future. Definitely pay attention to those that are getting sales. That's going to help give you some insight. And then go click on the listing and look in the detail for the description and also look at their tags. All of that is going to help you long term build a better listing. And if there's an opportunity, or if the opportunity presents itself that you can, in your 10 spots that you have for creating this particular listing, the images section, that you can create a video, then do that. Because again, people have a short attention span. Scrolling is one of the things that ultimately at the end of the day we're trying to stop. So if you have an image, that's going to help to stop the scroll. Have a video that can help stop the scroll. It won't always, but it can help to stop the scroll. Okay. And I would encourage you, after you create your listing, share that listing out with a couple of people. Ask them for feedback. Like, have your circle of friends or circle of family to go and look at that listing to give you some feedback. That could also, by default, give you some link juice to your listing, which could be helpful long-term, bigger picture. It could help the Etsy algorithm, eBay algorithm, Amazon algorithm. It can help all of those algorithms, like, oh, something's going on with this listing. So figure out who your circle of friends are and just get them prepared for the fact that you've launched a business. And from time to time, I'm going to send you some links, and I'd love to get your feedback on it. So keyword research, you have a search box inside of Etsy. You have a search box that's inside of Google. I mean, we already know that, but Amazon, eBay, Walmart, use those search boxes to your advantage. Okay. Use the Google search box. It's going to pull back stuff for Google Shopping and some other Google stuff. Look at Google Images. Use that search box to help you. Go to the Pinterest search box and see what comes up, because again, at the end of the day, you are ultimately trying to get your product seen. And so the more you can search for whatever the common phrases are and the sequence in which you put those words. I think we did, I cannot remember exactly what we did before. I think we were looking at recipe card, like the S matters, and with the S matters, without the S matters. So write down the different ways in which people might search for this thing, and then go do your reconnaissance work. I wrote down Keyword Spy, but that's not the tool we're using. We're using eRank. We're using, you can use Merchant Words. Merchant Words will let you do like a couple of searches. They used to let you do 5 a day, but now I think it's down to 1 a day. Keywords Everywhere, definitely recommend that. Also recommend Google Trends. So I'm going to fix this slide because this slide is wrong. But we're using eRank. For sure, I would encourage you to use that. You can do the free or the paid. Remember, you have some limitations on what you can do with the paid. Google Trends, that was another one that we used. And using Google Trends can help you to figure out, what is the search value? What is the search volume every single month for this particular thing? Keywords Everywhere, definitely recommend that. If you want to use Merchant Words, you can, but use the search box for each one of the platforms. Make sure that you are using that search box to look up the results and to see what comes up, see what the competition is doing. Maybe there is no competition, maybe there's low competition, but go see what is happening. And the one thing I will say about Etsy is that the majority of the time, Etsy is going to be phrases. It's not a singular word. It's going to be phrases. So when I say phrases, it's going to be more than one word. Recipe cards. Okay. You can type in recipe. You can type in recipes, but typically they're selling something, not just a recipe. So it might be a recipe book. It might be something else. Know that there's always going to potentially be on Etsy, you're going to get better search results by having a combination of words, not just a singular word. So some of the best-selling characteristics of $1 million stores, it is niche focused, and that's one of the things that I encourage you to do. The niche is the person in that niche, or whoever has that store, they're considered very knowledgeable. So again, figure out your niche, the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you know a lot of stuff about, or maybe you are that person. As I mentioned before, the 5 characteristics about me. I mean, I have more than 5 characteristics, but the point is, I started with that. I could go on and on and on, but use that to your advantage, because then you know how that avatar may be behaving, may look for things, may act or respond to things, and always incorporate the emotional result or the emotional feelings into it. When people see a picture, as I said before, when they see that image, it has to invoke an emotion or a feeling or whatever as part of whatever it is that you're selling. So if I am selling, I don't know, mine was all comedy, like 2 minutes from the toilet, or I'm not the grandma, like that's all comedy. And so that emotes laughter and joy, and people, that's what they feel when they see whatever it is that that particular store might be selling. Versus if we're talking about scriptures and devotional, like peace and calm, and maybe just feeling connected, that may be evoke that feeling. So keep that in mind as you put your images or attach your images to the listing, that there's an emotional connection in some cases to your particular product. When people are buying like planners, they're looking for a solution. So again, some of the images of the stuff that they see, like, oh, I can track here, I can track there. You can see the calculation going on in their brain that this is the solution I'm looking for. So then that gives them a little bit of ease, or like it helps them to feel like they're okay, I have a chance of being organized for the first time in my life. So that is part of that emotion. And also, don't overlook the words. So again, looking at your competitors and seeing, okay, they may actually put 1 or 2 words on the cover or the main photo. But focusing on a niche is one of the characteristics of $1 million store. Having a brand that is memorable, for sure. So think about your brand long-term, bigger picture. We've gone through the branding section, and think about that. They have a lot of listings. We talked about how to get to that place of a lot of listings. You can do it with 30 minutes a day. It is entirely possible to get there. If you consistently list every single day, 30 minutes every single day, 2 listings a week, 2 listings a day, 5 days a week, that's 10 listings in a week. At the end of a year, that's 520 listings. You can get there. So it just requires the consistency. That's why we have to grab that consistency monkey by his arms and say, look, you will comply. You will do what I tell you to do. I am in control. You are not in control. So you have to get him under control. You got to whip him into submission so that way he is compliant with your schedule. That is, I call it, well, monkey gremlin, whatever. That's the one that you have to get control over so you can get there. So that is exactly what 2 listings every single day, 52 weeks out of the year. That's 520 listings at the end of a year. Completely doable. So if you're working to become $1 million store, 2 listings a day can get you there. Okay. Longevity, they've been around for a while. They're in for the long game. So again, it's not a fly by night. Keep that in mind as you think about your business. Now, that doesn't mean that your name and your business and what you decide you want to focus on doesn't evolve over time. Maybe you start off with, prayer books or devotional or journals or whatever, and you transition to something else, but it's still in the realm of spirituality. That's fine. So again, they are in it for the long game. And if you're in it for the long game, then put together your strategy on how you're going to do this. So your goal is to get your first 10 sales always, to work, to get reviews, and to listen to feedback. Whenever you get some reviews from your customers, definitely listen to that feedback. Again, set up your circle of friends, talked about that, or circle of family, whatever works for you. Let them know, hey, I launched a business. I just want to get your feedback. I'm not trying to sell you every single day. Me sending you this link serves 2 purposes. 1, I get a backlink because I sent you a link and you clicked on it from where you are. And 2, I really do want your feedback because I value your opinion. So let them know I'm not trying to sell you something every single day. Okay. Not to have an abandoned store. There's a lot of stores out there where they create their first 5 listings or their first 10 listings and they're done. Don't let that be your store. Don't let that be your store. Offer a good quality product. Create something that is better than the competition. Okay. So multiple listings at once. We have talked about this, and you got to plan it out. That's the biggest piece of being able to do multiple listings at once, is to plan it out. Okay. Do some research, do some review. What's the niche? Figure out that, and then determine who will be the supplier. That means, like, okay, if I'm going to do multiple listings, if you're doing like printables, that's one thing. You're the supplier. Okay. you're creating it. Maybe you're using Canva, maybe you're using another tool. But if you are not using printables, and if you're going to print on other products, figure out who you want to work with. And then you can create a listing template. That makes it so much faster. We talked about this. So if you create a listing template, that means you can go from listing 1 or 2 listings a day to like knocking out 5 or 10 in that short window, because of the fact that all you're doing is cloning, changing the color, cloning, changing the color, cloning, changing the color. So you already have a template, change the color, change the words, save, submit, you're done. So if you're ready to scale, or you want to take the opportunity to scale from time to time, putting up multiple listings at a time, and also putting up listings where people can buy multiples from you. That's another thing. So duplicate the listings, and then work on, I put down create 6 to 10 new listings, but you can break it out and say, okay, I'm going to put this design on a tote, I'm going to put it on a coffee mug, I'm going to put it on a t-shirt, and just see what happens. See how the universe responds to what you put out there, and the sales. And also be thinking about, as you're doing this whole multiple listing thing, I think you should also have a game plan on where you plan to either cross list or cross display the products that you're selling, not just on Etsy, but some of the other platforms as well. Like, don't overlook Pinterest in addition to, the other social media platforms. So that should be part of your daily activities or your weekly activities. Maybe you hire your kids as a VA, or your grandkids, or the kid next door, and say, look, your job is to cross list or go share this link onto these 5 pages or to these 20 pages. And maybe that's the job you give them every single day. All they have to do is share, 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 share. That's it. So figure out what you want to do ultimately, meaning shared, so that the listing, when somebody buys, they're coming back to the original source of the listing. But decide what you want to do. Decide how you want to run that, and get organized. You do have to plan that out. You definitely have to plan that out. So to maximize your listing, to optimize your listing, we talked about SEO, doing that keyword research. Make sure you're adding 13, it says all 13 tags when possible, but what's relevant. So add tags to your listing. You at a minimum have 1 tag. You can have, 5, 6, 7, but if you can come up with the phrases and the terms that that are relevant for this particular product, then use that. Review the explore related searches. That's going to give you some of the tags from your competitors. So when you're looking at a listing, scroll down to the explore related searches, and that will give you some of their tag information as well. Make sure you add attributes where it makes sense, only where it makes sense. So if you are creating a scripture book, maybe you have a scripture book that's for the holidays. And so it's specific. It's the same scripture book. It just has a different color, and it's for the holidays. Or maybe you have a scripture around love, and then you add a little, Christmas bells or something on the side, or a cross, and you have some red and white or whatever. So maybe that makes too much, but anyway, you get the point, that it's something that is holiday themed. So you can take your existing listings and convert them to something that is more holiday themed, and it makes sense for whatever is coming up. Take a look at your titles. The first 3 to 4 words matter. I keep saying the first 5 to 7, but in any case, make sure you pay attention to the first 3 to 4 words, no matter what. And you can expand that out to 7. Some platforms, it's the first 5 to 7. But on other platforms like Etsy, it's the first 3 to 4. So pay attention to that. And the first 2 to 3 word phrases are the best. 2 or 3 word phrases are the best. So long tail keywords are 2 words or 3 words, or sometimes 4. An example would be back to school. Back to school is the long tail keyword. It's not, nobody is looking up back, and nobody is looking up to, and nobody is looking up school when they're going to Etsy. They're looking up the phrase back to school. That is a long tail keyword. That is the phrase that people are searching by. So think about how people are searching. Always be thinking about how people are searching for this particular thing. When you're creating your photos or your images for your listing, when possible, fill in all 10. And if you can, do that, so that way, again, you're working to build your reputation. You're working to get more traction and more eyeballs on your store. So make sure that when you have the opportunity, fill in as many of the image boxes that you have available to you. Okay. When you do create photos, work to have at least a studio photo, which is, the whole white background or light background, just showcasing the thing by itself. Lifestyle photo, like that particular thing sitting in the environment where it would be, or, someone, if it's a shirt, somebody's wearing it. Scale photo, so they know how big or small something is, if that's applicable. That is not always applicable. Okay. But a scale photo can help. And, if you're selling clothes, like, you probably need some measurement image that's part of your 10 images. And so you can get some of those things from Creative Market or Creative Fabrica, but your scale photo or something to give them some level of reference to size. And sometimes that scale photo might be like, okay, I need to know how big the coffee mug is compared to the laptop. So it's what is that? Not a vertical. Nope. Nope. Above a downward shot where the laptop is in one spot and the coffee mug is right next to the laptop. I cannot think of what that's actually called, but anyway, it's a shot from up above, overhead, whatever. A group shot. So if you're selling multiples, if you're selling, multiple shirts, or you're selling multiple pairs of socks or multiple leggings, like a group photo of all the options of everything that's available. Or if you're selling a bundle, definitely having that group photo being the first thing, that's helpful. A packaging photo, if it makes sense, if this thing is being packaged special for that person, or a process photo if you're creating the thing from scratch. And so if you're not creating it from scratch, then the process photo of how your product is being created doesn't matter, because somebody else is creating it if you're using a print-on-demand supplier. And then optimize your About You section. That's going to help you get some more potential traction to your store. People love a story. They do. And, some of the things that I listen to Clubhouse from time to time while I'm working. And that's a thing that I don't think I personally have done enough of, but people love to hear a story and they like to be connected to a person. So when we go back to Brooklyn Candle, I love looking at the two websites that we looked at as part of comparisons for Brooklyn Candle, or there was one of them that was Brooklyn Candle and something else, Brooklyn something Candle. But I couldn't remember the second one. But the first one I remember because it just rolled off the tongue. Like Brooklyn Candle I was there. I knew exactly what it was. I can go find it any day of the week. And they had a little bit of a story there on their page. And so it was also on their Etsy page. People want to feel connected to you in some kind of way. So, if you're concerned about the environment, let people know. If you're concerned about their spiritual journey or their connection with the Lord, or giving them the opportunity to have a stronger connection with the Lord, share that. Share what it's done for you and share how it's changed your life. It doesn't have to be some long, drawn out 9-paragraph thing. It can just be enough. I won't say to tug at the heartstrings, but just to let people know that, look, I do care about the environment, or I do care about your connection to the Lord, so that way they're like, okay, it might resonate with them. They might share it with somebody else. So fill in your About You section when you get the opportunity. And, if you can have somebody review that, or if you have a connection to a copywriter, or if you don't, there's a couple of sites you can go to get a copywriter. And then A/B testing any of your products. Always, I call it A/B testing. It's always been called A/B testing, but basically it's taking that same product, and maybe it's currently a white t-shirt with black letters. And so now you're going to sell it as a black t-shirt with white letters. So you're testing out the black t-shirt with the white letters. That's A/B testing. So just create multiple variations or versions of the same product. That's ultimately what that is, to not be technical. And then if you were working with someone else, they would say that's called A/B testing. So that's technically what it's called. Basically, you're just creating variations of the same product, ultimately, at the end of the day. All right, so we did get into Facebook. I hope all of that was helpful for you. Please use that. Go back and watch it, read it, whatever. Okay, so we're going to talk about Facebook shops and Instagram shops, and I'm going to go through this very quickly. The thing that you need to know is that outside of listing your stuff on Etsy, you do have the opportunity to connect it to Facebook shops, Shopify, Instagram shops. You can create backlinks back to it. So if you just want to have a Facebook fan page and you share your links from from Etsy onto your Facebook fan page, that's fine. But if you ultimately want people to be able to buy off of Facebook, you do have the opportunity to do a Facebook shop. So here's a couple examples of Facebook shops, and you can clearly see that a couple of these can be considered print on demand because it's little outfits and just having the design that's on them and the different color. Okay. So basically, you do need to have a business page to start the Facebook shop journey. You can import it or integrate it with several different platforms. Right now, Etsy is not on the list. I'm surprised by that, but Etsy's not on the list. So you would want to create your fan page and share your listings over to there. And please do share your listings on other platforms. These are the steps that you need to go through to create your Facebook shop. I'm not going to go through all of that. And when you get to the place where you're ready to start, you're going to click on Get Started, and it'll walk you through the entire process to set up your shop. That's the short version of that. You can go back and watch that session. And then we're talking about Shopify again. Figuring out what type of Shopify store you want to have. Some people that I know, they do physical products along with print on demand products, along with drop shipping products, and that's fine. There's already an integration available from Etsy to Shopify and vice versa. So if you want to do Shopify, you can do that integration from Etsy to import your Shopify listings over. Or if you're working with a print-on-demand provider that already has an integration with Shopify, you literally can have two different stores going. And you can decide if you want to do that. That's going to require more of your time. So if you don't have the time commitment, if you haven't figured out the consistency side of your business, and you don't have a VA farm, meaning a farm of VAs that you could pull from to do some of the work for you, then don't set this up. Shopify is going to require you to deal with the taxes side of the business when it comes to setting up a Shopify store. So if you don't have the taxes side of the business set up, Etsy may be the best. If you're not really good at that part right now in your life, that doesn't mean ever, just right now, then Etsy may be the best thing for you, because Etsy is considered I know what it's called. Oh God, can't think of terms. Something marketplace, something. Can't think of the term, but that's where they collect the taxes for you. I know what it is called. And Amazon is considered one of those, a marketplace facilitator. I knew it was going to come back to me. So Etsy is referred to as a marketplace facilitator. And so they will collect the taxes for you. They will do all of that work. So you don't have to do that. Same thing with Walmart, same thing with Amazon, same thing with eBay. So that whole marketplace facilitator piece was passed by Congress and passed in the law. So they do all of that for you. Whereas Shopify, they don't, because it's your own store. You're responsible for handling the taxes. So that's the only thing I want you to know about Shopify at this point. We're not going to get into the weeds about it, but I just need you to know that. I do encourage you not to run away from Shopify, though, because at some point you want to be able to collect and own that data for yourself. And so long-term, bigger picture, if you're building out a store that's going to become a brand that is really, big and amazing, then you probably want to be on a platform. And I will say that Shopify is one of the easiest platforms to develop your store on. So just putting it out there. But you can do print on demand products. You can do drop shipping. You can do a combination of all of them. And Shopify allows you that flexibility, whereas Etsy does not give you all of that flexibility, because there's stuff you can't do on Etsy, or they might flag your store or suspend you, whatever. You're not going to run into that directly with Shopify. So just keeping that in mind. This is talking about all of the features of Shopify, and you can come back and look at that, or go back and rewatch the session. And you have to figure out your business model. Then you have to go through niche. We did the brand research or product research, what it is. So if you're just moving your stuff over from Etsy, that's just a clean cut, and that's easy. Your branding, you got to do your store setup, and you're going to be responsible for your marketing and your analysis. But again, you have the opportunity to do really well with your keyword research, because Shopify has built a relationship with Google and built a relationship with YouTube. So that is part of the benefits that you get with Shopify. You can get your stuff listed in Google Shopping, which will also help you. So talking about the different models, again, doing a print-on-demand model, that's just a print-on-demand store. There's a bunch of Shopify stores I think we looked at that were just print-on-demand models only, versus a print-on-demand plus a drop shipping. And you can do those two. on there. And you can do some of that, but not all of it on Etsy. Again, Etsy limits you on what you can do on their platform. Okay. So think about that long term. Now we're into books. So I think the rest of this is books and marketing, but I could be wrong. I think we are missing outsourcing. So let me get through this. So book, as in producing a book, could be a photo book, low content book, chapter book, novel, whatever, planner, calendar, notebook, workbooks, all of those books. When you are ready to begin creating your books, we have a list, this first column here, of a lot of different providers that you can use to produce variations of books. Some of them are just notebooks, some of them are calendars, some of them are books, some of them are photo books, some of them are comic books. But this is a long list of sites that you can produce books, and this is not all of them. This is not all of them by any stretch of the imagination. Then this column right here, the middle column, is tools that you can use as you are on your journey of creating your book. You can use Adobe and Canva, the two main ones that I have used over and over again on this journey. And the reason I've used them the most is Canva. I can go and create and design and build my book in Canva and download it. And then I can upload it over to Adobe so I can consolidate the book. Because if it's over a certain number of pages or it's got too much color in it, the file size is going to be huge. And so Canva is only going to let you produce so many pages. So you may have project 1, 2, and 3 for the same product, and to consolidate them into one product, you can use Adobe to do that. There are other tools that are on the internet that will allow you to consolidate. You just have to be mindful of those free tools to see if they're, installing anything on your laptop behind the scenes when you use free tools. Just be mindful of that. But there's a lot of different tools that you can use to help you do either research, to create your book, to help you with the contents of your book, to address any issues or concerns with your book, develop the cover, do some copywriting, or review the book, whatever the case may be. That's what those tools are in the middle column and the column to the left. So go back when we've gone over the book session, go back and rewatch that. I went into a lot of detail on some of these, and it's an opportunity for you to figure out which tools might make the best sense based on the type of book that you are creating. So the types of books that we've talked about, there's a lot of them. This is not all of them, but ebooks, flip books, paperback books, journals, recipes, workbooks, planners, calendars, photo books, comic books, coloring books, hardback books, magazines. We could go on and on and on. You need to decide where you want to start and then go from there. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. Please do the mind mapping exercise so you don't lose all the ideas that come out of your creative energy. Don't lose them. Keep them somewhere, so then that way you can always come back to them. You probably could have enough ideas to where your business could continue running for the next 10 years with or without you. Your kids could take it over and they could run it forever, because of the fact that that thought bubble will produce a lot of different ideas. Okay, so go do that exercise of the thought bubble using the mind mapping websites. All right, so we did cover a lot of trademark stuff early on. We're covering it again. So basically, trademark and copyright, these are the two things that are most important when you're producing a book. Trademark is like your name and your logo, so they can't be used again, and or some specific pieces of your content that you are specific and unique to you and your company can be trademarked. There's different trademark levels or different trademark, I forget what they're called, but I had to get 2 different trademarks, and I know that there's like a couple, I forget what they're called, but I should have wrote that in here, the 3 or 4 different types of trademarks. But you can go to the U.S. Trademark Office and go through the basic exercise of reviewing what's involved in getting a trademark. And then there's a couple of articles around getting a trademark, and those are ones that I emailed. They will also be in your back office. Now, here's what I will say. I still think that if you decided you're going to go do a trademark, the fastest, most expeditious way to do it is the IP Accelerator program within Amazon. Even if you don't sell on Amazon, if you have an account and maybe it's asleep, just go use that. It will be so much faster. Now, you can go with your own attorney, you can do that all day long. But the problem is, or the thing that you're going to run into, is that when you go with your own attorney, whatever their process is, it won't be as fast as the IP accelerator program. I can guarantee you that. It's just not. It's just not. And then there's copyright. Copyright is, again, the intellectual property, somebody not taking your book, not taking the contents of your book. Now, there will be potentially some aspects of your book that cannot be 100% copyrighted, but there are probably going to be things that are in your book that can be. So you have to connect with a copyright attorney. Again, I said I was going to look up that number. My brain stretch. I want to say the price is somewhere between $250 and $395, somewhere off in there, to do the copyright with an attorney. You can do it with the same one that did your IP. Did your trademark. And the trademark, I think it runs from $895 to like $1,500 or something, $1,495 or something like that was the pricing for me. So that's what I spent. Yes, it was a lot of money, but I plan on doing this long term. So until you have built the habit of consistency, and until you have built a roadmap for your business, I don't recommend you going down the path of doing trademark and copyright, because if you're just going to pay that kind of money and let it sit, it's not worth it. That's like paying whatever money, $5,000 for a training program, and you don't do anything with it. So do something with it. Make a decision, put together a game plan, or at least fill in the thought bubbles around mind mapping, and then do something with it. Don't just let it sit. You have a valuable asset. It's your brain. And there's a lot of great, amazing ideas that are in there. Don't let them go away when you go away. We only have a finite amount of time on this earth. We don't know when the lights are going to go out for us. So while we are here, let's leave something in the universe to be a blessing to other people when we're gone. Don't sit on your hands. Do something with it. And if you haven't figured out how to make this work for you, then figure that part out first before you decide to jump in and get a trademark and a copyright. I know that wasn't very inspirational, but I'm just being honest with you. I hate to see people waste money. I really want you to do something with this. And that includes this class. All right. So this next part is Facebook ads. And I'm going to have to go back and get the outsourcing piece of it. So look, I am going to really skip over all the Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads. I'm going to skip all over that because we just went through that like 4 days ago. So you can go back and look at that at the end of this. And I'm going to move forward with, I think, the last couple of things. I will go ahead and pull out the outsourcing. Oh, that was it. Yeah. Okay. So let me go pull up the outsourcing. I thought that was the last thing I was supposed to do, was the outsourcing. Yeah, outsourcing. Okay. So let me grab the outsourcing real quick. And folks that have been copied over here, but everybody's busy. All of my VAs are busy. All right. So this last piece is outsourcing. I do feel like we went over it one day. I feel like I can't remember at this point. Everything is semi a blur. But I do encourage you to get to a place where you actually do get a VA in place, if you can. And the reason you would do that is if your life is really tight and you only have 30 minutes to commit to your business, and a VA can add an extra 30 minutes to your business for you and do some things I consider low-hanging fruit. So putting a VA in place can help multiply you and can help actually increase your revenue. Maybe they can do some of the designs and all you have to do is come edit. Maybe they can help do some of the research for the scriptures or do some research for the recipes. And then all you have to do is just add. So if you do have the capital or you start to make money in other areas, I would encourage you. This is my strategy for VAs. So I'm going to back up because this is not documented. I've talked about it before, but I need to document it because I've never documented it before. So my strategy is always to take the middle months April, May, June, and July, and take 100% in August, parts of August, take 100% of that money and put it aside. Whatever revenue I make, I take 100% of that and put it aside. Why do I do that? Because I want to, after expenses, after expenses and everything, I want to be able to invest 100% of that money into hiring a VA. Whenever I hire a VA, I always have the plan to keep them for at least 3 months, because I figure 3 months is the amount of time that you need to determine to actually make your money back from that VA, and to determine if this relationship is going to work. Because really, you're going to figure it out in 1 month, really. But so I'm going to take all of my profits for April, and I'm going to use that money to pay for a VA for 1 month. May, another month. June, another month. So now I have 3 months worth of income. You can hire a VA as low as $100 a month, or in some countries, you can hire them for $400, $500, $600 a month for a full-time person. I'm telling you that because that's what I do. So I have to think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 VAs and 1 specialist. That's what I have in my business right now. And when you get to that place where you're saving that money, that first month before you hire the VA, I want you to take 1 month and write down the stuff that you're doing. Even if you're only working 30 minutes a day in your business, write down what you're doing. Why? Because that's going to be your outline or your guide for training your VA. Everything, all the decisions that you make, how you do your keyword research, how you do your niche research, what tools you're using. I want you to write them down for 1 month. So that means you're going to have to work extra in your business. If you're working 30 minutes, you're going to have to find another 30 minutes so you can document what you're doing. Okay. Or you can use, speech to text. And so you could use the speech to text tool and you can speak it. You can turn it on. There's a lot of speech to text features. There's some in Google. There's some in Microsoft Word and all that other stuff. Turn it on and start speaking so that way you don't have to type 100% of it yourself. The other thing is to record a Loom video. So you're going to do both, record a Loom video and you're going to do speech to text. Okay. And then that way it will make it faster to get your VA up and running, long-term, bigger picture. So I siphon that money off and I put it aside. So I show no profit for myself those months. But as far as I'm concerned, on the books, there's profit. But as far as I'm concerned, that money doesn't exist. Okay. And that's April, May, and June. And then I take that money, I outline what the job is, the first things that I want to get rid of. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. And I hire a VA to eventually get to that place where I hire a VA to do that work. So 1 month is all about planning and preparation. And then month number 2 is when I actually hire the VA. And I will give them the Loom video and I will give them the documents to follow. And they're probably going to have at least 4 or 5 Loom videos from me. And these are the 4 or 5 things I want them to do in their first month with me. And they have written and they have visual instructions. So the first full month with that VA is the test run. Can this person follow basic instructions? Do they even understand what I'm saying? Do they even understand what I'm asking? What is the type and the quality of work that they're giving me back? That's your first month. The second month, and then you're asking them questions at the end of every week. Do you understand what it is that you need to do? Do you have any questions for me? In addition to that, I meet with my VAs in that first month. I meet with them at least 3 or 4 times a week. It's not a long meeting. It's like a 5 or 10 minute stand-up meeting. Like, okay, I'm going to send you, like, these are the meeting links. And I use Google Meet because it's the easiest thing. And I love Google Meet, even though there's aspects of it that I really don't like. But from a standpoint of sending stuff out to my VAs, it is the easiest tool in the world. I don't have to do extra stuff. It just, everything works out. So working with your VA 4 times a week, a meeting with them, 4 times a week for like 5 to 10 minutes. That's what I do. And then the next thing, and you're asking them questions at the end of every week to make sure they understand what is expected of them and making sure that they understand what things that they may or may not have done right. So it's course correction. Okay. Because you want them to improve in that first 4 weeks. That's month number 1. Month number 2 is either making the decision to say, you're out of here because it didn't work out. I gave you enough. I gave you 4 chances to tell me at the end of every week. I gave you 4 chances to tell me whether or not you understood what I was saying. Or this personality match is not going to work. Or I can't rely on you. You're not reliable. You ghosted me. I don't like that. Or any of those things. So month number 2 is if that person is still there and things are working out and you're seeing some level of progress, then you're going to potentially give them some additional work, maybe add 1 or 2 additional activities that you want them to do, or you're going to scale or have an expectation of scaling of the work. And what I mean by that is maybe you just ask them in the first month to just create 2 listings every single day. I don't know, or 1 listing a day. That's all you did. You asked them to do 1 listing a day, 5 days a week, blah, blah, blah. So now, and you are at a place where you've done listings, you should get faster. Because again, think about riding the bicycle. When you first start riding a bicycle, you're slow as molasses. You're having a hard time balancing. You're very rigid and it's crazy. So you're not moving at a fast rate of speed. But after you've been riding the bike for a while, you're very fluid and you get very much faster. So there should be a level of expectation where your VA is getting faster and better. So that means you can move that VA from 1 listing every single day to 3 listings a day or 5 listings a day because of the fact that they've gotten faster. They're more experienced. You're asking them questions every single week. They should be able to clip along pretty quickly. If they are not, then something else might be going on. Okay. So there should be an ability to scale with that VA, maybe based on those just 4 tasks that you're giving them to do. And if they don't scale, then you need to figure it out or either let them go. If they can scale, then month 3, from month 2, you should start to see an increase in revenue from that person. So the first month, I don't worry about paying them because I already put money aside to take care of that. Month 2, I don't worry about paying them because I already put money aside to take care of that. Month 3, I don't worry about paying them because I put money aside to pay for that. But I should see an increase in revenue from month 2 activity. Because if they are able to scale, increase their speed, increase their efficiency, then I should be getting some additional money. So I'm going to strip off the extra money off of month 2 of them working for me. And I'm going to set it aside. And in month 3, my number should double and that person should be able to pay for themselves. So every month after month 3, they should be paying for themselves, no matter what. They should always be paying for themselves. If they're not paying for themselves, then there is something wrong with your model. Okay. So your VA, the work that they put in or the value that they bring to your business, it should pay for itself. That is how I bring my VAs on board. Now, some people do different models. That's my model. I found that it works. So you can build something, you can build a variation of that, or you can decide, but you need to have an evaluation period where the starting line and where they're starting from, they're not going to be that fast. They're not going to be that great. They're going to make mistakes. And that's Grace and Mercy month number 1. And you might even give them Grace and Mercy in the first, the first 2 weeks of the second month. But eventually they should be picking up speed. They should be more efficient over time. They should make sure their understanding and comprehension of what's expected of them should get better. And then by the time you get to month 3, you definitely should be seeing some level of a reward on the back end, whether it's increased listings, whether it's increased traffic, increased sales, all of that, it should start to pay for itself. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to stop for just a second and see if you have any questions, then we're going to get into the VA part. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. So why do you need to get a VA? Because of the fact that you need to multiply yourself. You have to increase your productivity, increase your profits. That's ultimately, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do. We're trying to buy back some time or buy some time from somewhere. There is some risk with hiring a VA. They're going to gain access to your accounts. Maybe, maybe not. Some platforms will allow you to create a VA specific account. Shopify definitely has that feature in place, so they can't gain access to your stuff. There's integration tools that you can use that way they can create listings on your behalf without actually gaining access to your account. You can decide how you want to do that. You can do the research. They won't be as fast as you. or they won't get it right. And you have to be prepared for that. And you're going to have to pay money for a VA. So you need to be prepared for that. So that's those are your risks. I separate VAs into three categories. You have the doers. Doers are people that can do simple tasks. They can't, there's nothing complex about it. It's like going to a dentist office and they're filing some stuff away. It's like, okay, put this in alphabetical order. If you know your ABCs, you understand that this is a folder. It has the person's last name starts with an A. It goes in the A section. This goes in the B section. It goes in the C. Just mundane, simple stuff. You can have them doing stuff like check to see if I have any reviews, check to see if I have any feedback, check to see if I have any emails, check my voicemail, like simple stuff like that. Thinkers are people that can do the doer's job, and they can do a little bit more. They can analyze data. They can understand things. So they will go a little bit beyond what a doer will do. You can trust them to take on more work. So with thinkers, those are your people that maybe they started off as a doer, but they showed the capacity that they have the capacity to learn. And so now they are considered a thinker. Okay. And they can do some analysis. You can give them data or reports to run and then ask them for the results of the summary. They can use some of your research tools and go do some research for you and bring you back a summary of the results. That I love. Trust me, all day long. Love that. And whereas the doer, you might say, okay, give me a list of, I don't know, wholesale suppliers. And they'll go to Google and they'll look for a list of wholesale suppliers. And if you're not specific enough, you'll get a crappy list and you'll have to go back. Okay, let me give you some more detail about this request. Because you would be surprised some of the stuff I get from my doers. I'm like, oh my gosh. So you have to be as detailed as possible because they are not thinkers. They don't think through the request. They're like, okay, go to Google, type in wholesale supplier, type the list of the of the companies, and like, okay, did you even validate that this is a real company? No, you told me to go get a list. All right, so trust me, I've been there. And then specialists are people that have a specific set of skills, talents, and abilities. Maybe they are really good at creating marketing videos. Maybe they're good at creating email swipe, email copy. Maybe they're good at copywriting. Maybe they're good at creating graphics or designs for you. Those are specialists. They have a specific set of skills. They can do your marketing. These people have a lot more advanced skills. Okay, so those are your three categories. Decide which ones you think you want to do. So some mistakes on this journey: not knowing what you want to outsource. That's definitely a mistake. Not being organized for the interview process. You definitely have to have a list of questions and you have to know what you want the person to do. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. Expecting, hiring someone cheap and expecting them everything. I promise all day long. I work with a 7-figure earner and he burns through VAs, and I tell him, this is your problem. This is your problem. You're unorganized and you're hiring these people at this rate and expecting them to do specialist work, and that's never going to work out for you. So, and then not establishing expectations, when you expect them to work, when you expect them to follow up with you, when you expect to meet with them. If you don't establish those expectations at the beginning, that's going to be a problem. Not diversifying the task across your business. I have made that critical mistake of doing that, and I had to pay for it, not once, but twice. You thought I'd learned the first time. Not a third time over here. Not setting up your VAs correctly, not making sure they have access to the tools that they need, access to the files, access to the videos to train them on the different stuff, where you expect the output, all that stuff. Make sure you give them access to the right things. Not allowing them enough time to get the work, get up and running. That's why I say it's a 3-month period. The first month is really testing them out and seeing what they understand and touching base with them at the end of the week, every single week. But you're doing a 5-minute touch base, 3 times a week. And then on that 4th one in that week, it's maybe a 30-minute touch base. Okay. Not listening to their ideas or feedback. Look, your VAs may be doing the stuff that you have them do for a while. When they first get it, they don't want to speak up because they're just trying to figure out and understand the job. But if they've been doing it for a year, they may actually, and you haven't been doing it for a year, they may actually say, you know what, they added this additional field on this page for setup. And I don't know if you know about that, but I think this will help us get more sales. Yeah, because here's the deal. What I've learned about VAs in other countries is that they want to keep their job. They do. They want the money. They need the money. And so when they give you feedback, sometimes you should listen to see what they have to say. I'm uh just giving you some insight. Sometimes now I listen to my VAs all the time, but I'm just saying I've worked with people who don't listen to their VAs at all. I'm like, please stop asking me to help you with VAs because you're burning through them. So again, listening to your VAs after they've been doing the job for a while, because sometimes they'll ask innocent questions and that may provoke a thought for you to go, you know what, we could do that differently. And it just becomes an aha moment because you've been doing this for so long that a new set of eyes gives you a completely different perspective. So just know that. And then not sharing your vision long term. Definitely share your vision if you feel like this VA is going to be around for a while. Tell them what you expect that they'll be able to grow into. Tell them that, at some point you expect to be able to give them a pay increase or, pay for a 2 weeks vacation, whatever it happens to be. Let them know that you want a long-term relationship with them, not a short-term. Because again, you want to be able to balance your work life. So, steps to getting started, make sure that you document what your processes are, create some standard operating procedures. Those are SOPs, standard operating procedures or SOPs. You can use Google Drive. I am in love with that. It used to be like Google Workspace. I mean, everybody has access to Google Drive, period. But I know that there's some things that are coming down from Google starting in September. So I would encourage you to get a business account. I don't know what it's called anymore. It used to be Google Workspace. So whatever the new name of it is, get that. So that, and you can pay like $7 a month or $8 a month for it. And that way you can have a complete environment where your VA can work, where you can create documents and use the drive and use spreadsheets and all that stuff, Google Docs, blah, blah, blah. Go through the application process. You can find a lot of different companies that will allow you to hire freelancers or VAs. You can just do that search. Now there's 3 different types. One is direct. I found my VAs from a friend who actually is from India. And so he told me about his niece. And then that just spawned a whole group of people over in India that I now have a team over there. But and that was ironic how that worked. But I have started with Online PH. And so there are agencies out there that will do like the research and find your people. You can go to standalone sites like Upwork and Freelancer and find individuals that way, or Fiverr and find individuals that way. Or you can do the agencies, or you can hire a service. I also have a service. It's called Emphasize. And what they will do is they will do 50 tasks for me every single month. 50 tasks, and I pay them a flat fee for the 50 tasks. And so I use them in conjunction with my VAs, and so we can get some of the simple doer work done. So I hand that off to Emphasize. Test them for a period of time, anywhere from 2 days. So give them a simple task. I've given stuff like, I need you to go out there and find 10 things that are selling for a higher price on Amazon than it is on Walmart, or 10 things that are selling for a higher price on whatever. Now that's retail arbitrage example. So if we're talking print on demand example, then you can give them something like, okay, go find, I don't know, the top 10 scriptures that are based on love, and 1, 2, 3, go, and let them go find the top 10 scriptures that are based on love. They'll come back with the results. Now, the people that I evaluate, the person that just gives me 10, I don't know, just go put that aside. The person that brings me back 25 or 50, we might be able to have an extended conversation. Or the person that brings me 10 and gives me some details on how they compiled this list. I went to these sites and did this, and this told me this, but this told me this. Like, they give you way more than you're expecting. That's the person you probably want to have a further conversation with. I'm just saying. So look for that type of response if you're going to test them out using any of these services or using the individual websites. Do that, put the test out there and let some people respond to it. And then you'll decide who you want to have follow-up conversations with. Have your interview questions ready to go, and so that okay, I need somebody that speaks English. I need somebody that can meet with me at 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever my time. All of those things matter. And then monitor their work very closely for the first month, second month, third month. Okay. And then reevaluate on whether or not you want to give them more stuff. See if they are paying for themselves. If they're not paying for themselves, you need to think about something different, or let them go, or revisit maybe your instructions, your Loom video, your documentation is not as good as you think it is, and it has to be revisited. If they're coming back with 20,000 questions and you've trained 2 different people and they still got 20,000 questions, you clearly need to update your training materials. Okay? Don't take it personal. That's just a fact. So some of the things that you can have them do for you, you can have them do product research. You can have them create listings or help you with listings. You can have them research private label products and ideas. But again, you're doing print on demand. So you can have them go and create designs for you. You can have them address your customer service. You can have them go update maybe your about you section of your profile for your page. You can have them work on orders or follow up on the orders with whoever the fulfillment service is that you have an integration. You can have them handle emails. You can have them create emails. You can have them do keyword research, long tail keywords. They can go do research on your competitors and come back with information. I could go on and on with the number of things that you can have your VA do for you. So I just want you to think about those things and consider, thinking about a VA, work towards that. You may not be at that place right now where you're ready to have a VA, but I want you to think about that long-term, bigger picture. So with that being said, I know I covered a lot of stuff. And yes, this class is going to be restructured. I thank you all so much for your feedback. I hope that this has been a blessing. I hope that you actually will recommend someone take this course. I know it will be revamped, but I hope you recommend they take the course, that you feel like you got some value out of it. And I thank you for allowing us to go on this journey together. So with that, please share your thoughts, feelings, or any questions that you may have at this time. You can unmute. Am I by myself? I never know if I'm by myself.
No, you're not by yourself. We're here.
All right. Any thoughts, feelings, questions that I can answer?
Honestly, it would be nice if you had like a day in the life of hiring a VA type of class.
Okay.
Kind of see what that looks like.
Okay. That I could do. I've been saying I was going to do that because somebody else, I have a couple people ask me that. And so I've been saying I was going to do that, but I just haven't had the bandwidth to do it. So I will do that. I may do a workshop on that. And it'd probably be a 2-part workshop because it is a process.
Yeah, okay. I would never know like what are the best questions to ask for a potential VA. I would just kind of want to see that in action.
Okay. So one of the things that I do is, when I'm starting off to VAs, I will ask them questions. Well, first, there's a screener. So if you don't have a computer, I can't help you. I'm not here to supply you a computer. If you don't have access to the internet, I'm not here to help you. If you don't have access to a mobile device or a phone, I'm not here to help you. If you don't, if you're not, like I tell my VAs when I'm interviewing them, look, here's the thing. We operate on Facebook. So I need to make sure that I can message you on Messenger. We use Facebook Messenger, we use Slack, and we use Google Drive. Do you have access to those things? And I go through those things with them. Yes. Do you understand what those tools are? Because I'm not here to teach you Google. I'm not here to teach it to you. And a lot of people who are like international, they understand that. Like they're used to it because they probably work for other US companies. So they're expecting some level of access, remote access to something. But I do ask them, I do find out if they speak English or not. I find out if they can meet with me. I always ask them, how many hours can you work? So I asked them, it's like, okay, what are the number of hours that you can work in a week? And they'll tell me. And like, so if you're going to work 25 hours in a week, this is the work that I need you to do. And I actually do have like an email thing. I'm going to show my personal stuff, but oh well. So when I make an offer, when we get to the place where I actually make an offer to somebody, I actually have an outline email about the position. So it actually goes through what you're going to be expected to do. Here's the job. So this one is one job. I have another job. I have lots of jobs. But anyway, so this is the description of the job. And we talk through it. together. I gauge how much English you really do understand, because my people are not, English is not their first language. So I'm concerned about that. So I go through and I outline the job description. Now, here's the deal. I probably have a leg up on everybody because I'm a former HR person. I worked in HR for 30 years. So I know how to at least put together bullet points on what your job is. And so that's probably a better class to kind of walk people through how to put together a job description for a VA. But yeah, I go through and I outline what the job expectations are for the person and what I need them to do, and then how many hours I'm willing to pay you and how much I'm going to be paying you. Then I also have a contract that they sign, as you can see. So there's a process that they go through, and this is the email, and I ask them to read it, and then we read it together because English is not their first language, and I give them the opportunity to talk to me about whatever questions that they have, so that I don't want to hire somebody that's just saying yes, 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 and yes, and that's the only word that you know how to say. Like, I need to make sure that you and I can communicate back and forth with each other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then, so I have another VA. I have several VAs, but that she does all of my like listing work. Well, there's two of them that did the listing work. So I have a bunch of stuff in here. So this is the warehouse position. And so again, she goes through, she's learned a lot more. She started on last year. So that was October. So she's learned a lot more, but this was her job description, what she was expected to do. And they're all expected to sign an NDA. And I don't pay them. I mean, I pay them decent, and then I give them some additional perks. So this is their job, and this is what they're expected to do. Particularly right before we left. And she works with another VA by the name of Priyanka, and Priyanka is my main VA, and she's my backup VA.
Shut up.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. But does that make sense? Like, you have to outline the job, and then from there, I can begin the process of potentially asking questions. I know that some of these people don't have any experience with creating listings at all. Like, I'm going to have to teach them from scratch. And so that's why having Loom videos are helpful. So I have a library of Loom videos of the job already done, and then documents. So yeah, I'll put together a thing so we can go through the process of how to hire a VA and put together a job description and, you know, how to interview them. But does that kind of give you a little bit of insight? Hello?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions I can help answer? All right. Well, I invite you all. This is what I will say. When I do that workshop, you guys can come absolutely free. Okay. And I will do what I can to help you all on that journey as much as possible. So you can come absolutely free. So remind me of that, so I don't forget to send you the link so you can come and participate, because I might forget. And then the second thing is, if you need to schedule a free 20-minute coaching session, go schedule one, because I'm happy to sit down with you as you go on that journey as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you, Nicole.
Yes, for sure.
You're welcome. All right. So with that, I am going to call it. I love you all with all my heart and soul. I have to now transition for the next, I don't know, however many hours, try to get as many of the things I need to get done for the summit. So I will see you all another time. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.